No, I got 2 of them so far, 1 and 13, unless it's stuck.
So should I turn the volume down here?
Yep. Just go ahead and, so you don't have to hear yourself.
Now where are we at?
Yeah, I
Okay, so
don't
we're
know
at the
what
top,
this
we're at the
is.
top
And if you
corner.
want to invite anyone, you send them the link.
And I get that at
Don't be doing anything.
Where?
go to Zoom.
And it's the little,
I saw it in the,
Shield
the stuff we got from the Secretary of State. But
you can copy a link and email it to them or just send them a picture.
I'm
Copy
sure
the link
my
would be
wife
easier
got
because they just click on it.
requested as a
Okay.
Democrat running to throw money
And then I'll look at my email.
in. Some woman called us from Massachusetts,
Charlie.
you know, part of the Democratic
Maybe start off.
senatorial.
I have too many remotes.
Good deal.
Okay.
Ready? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome and greetings to all on this fine April 14, 2021, and I think it's just the regular meeting. I think we reorganized last time, so we're in good shape for the shape we're in. Well, we do have public. Does the public like to make a comment?
I have none other than to say that the Board of Elections in Washington County is one of the finest organizations that I've ever been involved with. Thank you very much.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Thank you.
Make sure you get a donut when you leave.
Okay, I have one for it now.
Oh, mercy. We have 2 sets of minutes. From March 3 and March 12 of this year.
Yeah, you couldn't approve the minutes because it was a special meeting from the March 3rd.
Right, the other. Okay. Well, I think I mentioned before going on that we should make sure that Ms. Ritter,
Yes, I will.
as opposed to Ms.
This is a lag.
So you'll find that if you have a computer, you can probably put a search
Yep.
on it
I will.
and locate it. Were there corrections that needed first to the third, I guess?
I didn't see any.
And if not, we just need a motion and a second.
I move that we accept the minutes of the 3rd.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, on the 12th. I know there's a couple of things that, second paragraph, again, the Ms. thing would have to be searched through. But in the second paragraph, I believe that in the 3rd line, it should say, since there are no contested Isn't that why?
But does not have, okay. Third line, second paragraph. Belpre does have a contested race for president of
No,
council.
no, no, go
No, prior
back
to
further.
that.
Actually, the second, you could start with this, just the whole paragraph,
Okay,
you know. She had heard back from the Ohio Secretary of State's office, we're not required to have a ballot in the city of Marietta since there are.
no, yeah,
Then going on, Belpre does have
yeah,
2 contested races, but does not have any Democrat candidates running for office. And so there has to be some blurb in there about what's the significance of that. Unless you want to go up and,
Belpre does have a contested, 2 contested races for president of council. Republican, but does not have any Democrat candidates running, thus,
there'll be no Democratic primary, right?
thus no Democratic, yeah,
But a Republican primary will be held,
okay.
Shouldn't that be,
something to that effect.
shouldn't that be Democratic candidates rather than Democrat candidates?
Democratic candidates?
Democratic candidates.
Okay,
That same paragraph, Director Amos said the office.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right, I knew there was a.
Okay, I will take this back if there's not anything else.
That's all I know.
Okay, now I'm typed up and.
Well, can we have a motion to approve subject to the changes and so we don't forget?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That brings us to the bills. Always a thrilling time.
And we did have the last one there for Triad for our polling location change cards. That was the ones for Decatur that we moved to Porterfield for this time.
For this time.
Yeah, and then the Lawrence and Newport ones that moved for this time. So there was actually 1,074 of those. And they were on like a really bright pink paper. So hopefully you can see them. Yeah.
What is remote ballot marking conversion?
What that is we had to start doing that a few years ago. It allows someone who is handicapped to vote. They can actually mark their ballot on the computer. We can email it to them. They have to fill out a special application to request the ballot that they are handicapped. And so we can email them the ballot and they can mark it on their computer so they can use whatever assistance, a software they have to fill out their ballot, and then they have to print it off and mail it back to us. So, but we're required by law now to have that, and we actually, that's paid for by grant money still right now, we still have grant money that we received when the state originally required us to have that.
Is that roughly 1,000 a year or 1,000
1,000
voting?
Each election, yeah. It can be
Primary
like,
and general?
yeah, or this is just for the primary. So in the general, it might be a little more because we'll have more ballots. That'll be, since we don't have a full election this time, so it might be a little bit more in the general. But I think we had about $5,000 left in that account.
So it's a software system of some sort.
Yeah, Triad that does our voter registration system, does it for us. And it's a way they convert the ballots so that we have it available to be able to email it to people.
Okay. Any other questions on the bills? Not a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Correspondence, I believe, is next.
Yeah, the directive, the first one listed there, the 2112, is for Mostly it's really for counties that are in the Ohio's 11th congressional district, they're having a special election. We're in the 6th congressional district. So we're not part of that. And then the 2021-13 is our, talks about our official canvas that we'll do for the May 4th election. Also, it has reminders about open meetings and precinct election official training. And then the memorandum, they put that out each election, one that we could send to the sheriff's and police offices, just to remind them of their responsibilities during election day.
Do we do that, or does the Secretary of State contact
I
all of
think we
them?
need to send it.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's why we did it, and so
So that we
we
can
send it
forward
to
it.
each of the entities. Well, I guess in this case,
That would be effective.
Belpre, Marietta City, Marietta City, and the Sheriff's Office.
sure.
Yeah.
All right, so anyone have any questions? Again, these are all things that obviously we get with our email system with the Secretary of State.
Is everybody getting all their emails and everything, and everything's working?
Yeah, I
Okay,
am.
good.
That's good.
Probably getting about the time where I have to change passwords,
Yeah.
which virtually takes an act of the General Assembly to get accomplished. It's always amazing, you just can't hit a button or something.
No,
Type
no.
up a new one. However, all right. We're going to be approving poll worker appointments.
Yes.
There's a list?
Yeah, if you'll see the two-page front and back. Obviously, with a off-year election, we don't need as many precinct election officials, but we still have to abide by the social distancing and the CDC requirements, as well as the Secretary of State's requirements and maintaining safe voting locations for both the voters and the precinct officials. So everybody has worked at least one election. Because of that, we did not have to hold in-person training. That's why I'm holding off on that training that we talked about, the training committee, until we get through this election, and then this summer we can work on that. They will, they're not required, but they can take the online training, and most of them do, because we do pay them $10 to take the online training. So most people do like to have that, but we had one person that was not able to work at all last year. Bob Baumgartner is coming back. He's a longtime poll worker, so we're glad to see him come back. And I once again, I've been pleasantly surprised. I have not had to do any advertising or any cajoling to any civic groups. The precinct workers in Washington County are very committed to seeing that we have good, safe elections, and I'm just very pleased that all of them have decided to sign up again.
So again, just for purposes, if someone's looking at this, where we have elect, that would be an election official.
Yes,
Then the precinct would be the individual that's in charge of the precinct.
exactly.
And the location or voting LOC is the location.
Correct.
manager
Correct.
And so forth.
Now, as you can tell, we have more Republicans than we do Democrats, but you can also use unaffiliated, like it is in another party. So that's where we.
Is that where the dashes are?
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
Our system, obviously in Ohio, we don't recognize independents as a party. So our system either has is it issues
Yeah, either
or,
issues only or the dash.
or a dash, yes.
okay, all right.
So both of those would be unaffiliated.
And for
So,
the-
and on that same line, and it was, we did talk to the Washington, or Marietta Times the other day about it, and it was in the paper, but people want to change, if they want to change their affiliation, if they don't have a contested primary, they cannot do it in this primary.
Correct,
They have to wait until next year.
oh yeah,
Belpre City is the only one that, if somebody wanted to choose, but there's not a Democrat ticket or ballot
Right, yeah.
in there. But can they still, I mean, could they still request?
No,
They can't?
No.
Okay.
We had this happen, actually came up with some frequency back when the first primary with Obama and Hillary, and we had what were called Limbaugh Democrats that were all Republicans that heeded his advice to come in Ohio and vote for Hillary. And then we didn't have a primary, if you recall,
Yeah,
the
the
next
next
time,
year.
and there were lots of phone calls about, you know, I want to be put back, you know, I'm getting information, phone calls from Democrats. I'm a Republican, we're going, well, you have to wait for a primary where you get to go
where you
in.
can, right.
And so there was a level of frustration, because I recall we actually, I think, ended up contacting both the Secretary of State and the prosecutor's office just to be assured that we were correct in what we were telling them, and got a hearty amen, but
Okay.
yeah, so I recall that. So it is sometimes, it's just a fact of life, unfortunately, or fortunately, as the case may be. All right.
To approve these appointments.
Yes.
Yeah, so we need to approve those, right?
Mhm.
Can we just do it by noting it's a 2-page document? I don't think we have to go through and name.
I don't think you have to list each name, just,
I'll make a motion that we approve the list of election workers for the upcoming May primary as noted in the 4-page spreadsheet before us.
We've had a motion and seconds, or any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All right. Obviously, next, I think, is it this short little orange and yellow form,
Yeah.
which is our allocation of voting machines.
so that, there's a column there for how many poll books we're sending. The FVT is the freedom votes, the touch screens. So it says how many will be at each location. And then plus, you'll add one to that, so it'll be 1 ADA at each location.
So that's the total, and then to assist those that are delivering, we have the color and the shape,
Right, so that they know which
Double
machines
check
to
it.
choose.
everyone to make sure.
You
And I've already checked with the commissioners, and I'll be requesting the white van from the county home again for the delivery workers to take the, I think we'll put the shields, is what we'll
The
probably,
sneeze guard.
the sneeze guards put in there, so.
All right, very good. And so I think we probably need a motion to approve the allocation unless there were more questions.
I move that we approve the
Living machine
Yeah.
allocations.
living machine allocation.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Excellent. Yeah,
I think Emily's bringing the
Minutes.
meeting.
And then, since they're approved, you can sign one copy and pass it down.
oh, the voting allocation?
No, that's for the,
Oh,
minutes.
the minutes. Oh, I was gonna say,
We do have someone from the public here if we wanna.
oh, yeah, that's right, yes. We usually do public comment at the beginning, and so we started in.
I'm with the press.
This is, Mr.
Chris, I'm with
But I mean, you're,
Chris Schmidt, yes, from
Patch.
Patch,
Yes.
which is a new media outlet here in Marietta. It's an
Online only.
online only. If you haven't signed up, I encourage you to do so. Chris came in like a second day in town and introduced himself to us. So I've done a couple interviews with him, and he's now on our media list, so thank you for joining
Hey,
us.
thank you for the emails.
You're very welcome.
And you are,
I'm with Patch.
I got that, I'm subscribed, it's good.
Okay, cool.
But I didn't catch your name, I'm sorry.
I'm Chris.
Chris Smith.
Chris Smith, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
What's the website?
It's patch.com.
Just.com, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, you didn't happen to know Kevin right there, would you?
Yes, I would.
Perhaps.
Okay, I thought so. Okay, yeah, well, I go to the commissioners meeting every week now, and, yeah, so I know him pretty well so far. So.
Ours
Good guy.
are far more entertaining and informative.
I don't know about that.
Oh, Lord. Actually, nothing against the press, but when we first started, when I was on the board, so I think Charlie would be here, would be the young one. The press was always present, usually from Columbus,
Oh, wow.
television,
Are you serious?
serious, because the board had been fired by the Secretary of State, and we were the replacement.
Oh, wow.
So we were news for at least a good 6 months or longer,
I get fired if I can ask.
because, well, they had difficulty getting along and following all the rules, perhaps regulation now and again. So anyway, it was Blackwell, and so we really came on and we're on probation with Jennifer Bruner. So God bless our liaison,
And Block.
would always introduce us as, this is my probationary group from Washington County. So we were thrilled when they took away that word probation.
You're last, you're the only one
Made
that
us feel
left.
good.
Yes.
No, Charlie was on there
Oh, Charlie,
too.
that's right.
Yeah, Charlie was ahead of me by a couple of months.
But thanks for joining us, Chris.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
thank you. We have lots of personal protective equipment at this point. I think we have boxes and
Yeah, we do have quite a bit, but the Secretary of State's office gave us another $690 for use for this election. So we will be very well protected,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, again, I did notice in going to court, in municipal court, and Judge Welch, has purchased additional air moving equipment, standalone, for the purpose of, cleaning more air, et cetera. Because one of the things she was concerned about, of course, was having COVID get into a clerk's office where people potentially could be quarantined, sent home, and you have a court that, is doing close to 20,000 cases a year.
Right, you don't have,
It's hard to say we're gonna stop because we don't have any clerks. So she was separating them and, like I said, doing extra air cleaning and.
like an air purifier.
And nowadays, yeah, purifiers. And of course, nowadays, everything is Zoomed. As a matter of fact, I did some pre-trials and some of the lawyers were from Noble County or further away. And their clients were elsewhere, and the system allows them to converse without us. And so forth, they can come on and do changes of pleas and all sorts of things to move the docket along and so forth, so. But I'm just saying, I don't know if air cleaners qualify if we thought we needed.
What did we think yesterday? We came up with something.
We were thinking of the, like the stands of the, hand sanitizer. And you could just have it, like when you go and would walk into a polling location, that it just be there it didn't have to sit on the table and be a freestanding.
Right.
Oh, I know what you mean.
And I think Marietta Janitorial Supply has those.
They probably do. I think in the state, I think it gave us a list of people that we could
That had
work from.
approved.
Yeah,
Okay.
and those, wouldn't maybe be a bad idea to keep even after, COVID's over, just have those available. Because most businesses you go in now have hand sanitizer available for,
Yeah, it's just kind of a regular thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're in good shape there. Must be open. I saw that. the weekend after the election as part of our cure period.
Right, so if they didn't provide an ID on their provisional or absentee ballot, that they can come in and turn that into us. So we have to be open, to 7 days, which is our normal office hours anyway, through the week. Monday through Friday, we have to be open 8 to 5 for the cure period, so we're already doing that. But the Saturday will have to be open from 8 to noon and Sunday 1 to 5. So we were gonna split it up. So me and Melissa are coming in on Saturday, and then Karen and Emily are coming in on Sunday. So,
Well, that makes sense.
yeah, typically, we don't have really anybody come in,
We aren't gonna have much in the way, well, I would think less, obviously,
and especially for this election, yeah.
having a smaller voter base. All right, well, that's good. We do have to select a date, right?
Yeah, to do our official canvass, and it has to be between May 15th and the 25th. The 25th is the very last day.
And that could suffice as a general meeting as well?
I guess it could, I don't think there's anything that says it.
I mean, obviously, you're gonna have an agenda potentially for us
Right, for that
if you
anyway,
need
because
for
of the
election
official.
day, but if there were more things to crop up or you wanted to,
Right, if there's something we need to add on.
Are we gonna have a meeting on election day,
what's
May
that?
4th?
Yeah, we'll have to meet here at 6:30.
At 6 in the morning.
Yeah. 6.
Yeah, but that's to open, and I was mentioning to Mandy, there have been instances on these smaller elections where we decide not to stay, after, say, 8 o'clock or 7, whenever the phone sort
Yeah.
of quits ringing up, oh, this isn't working right, and so forth. And if we wanted to go visit as a group, we could, or we could just come back together around 5 or so to do whatever
Just do
would
the
be on the
business.
agenda,
Yeah.
and then kind of be prepped up and ready.
When the polls
So,
close.
Yeah. So we need to pick that date for May.
Which that one, it'd be up to you whether you wanna stay or come in and approve everything and then leave for a while and come back. I mean, I don't think we'll have too many provisionals for this election, actually, we haven't had even one yet, so. One
Right.
provisional yet, so.
Well, May 12th would be our regular monthly meeting. Do we want to just maybe move it back the week?
Will we change it to the 4th?
Or you change it to?
Yeah, that one goes to
Okay,
the,
okay.
yeah.
On May 4th,
Well, for the official canvas, I am only in town the 17th and the 18th. So it's gotta be between the 15th.
So the
and
17th works for me. The 18th I have to be in Cincinnati.
17th works for me.
I was gonna say that would work for.
17
for
is
us.
good?
May
Yeah,
17th, official canvas.
Okay, and that would take care of it. So
So-
May 17, and you want to do it at our regular 8:30, or would you rather it be 9? or-
how about 8:30? I
All
think
right.
that's,
And probably get it done while we're there, so we wouldn't have one of those where we were coming back at 4 for the,
I think we should be able to, yeah.
at least that might be our goal. Sometimes in
Right.
the presidentials or the gubernatorials, there's so much for you to do that we
Right, instead of just having to
might
sit
have to
around.
come back.
Right.
Hopefully, we're not in that position. So we're good there. So May 17, 8:30. Oh, along those lines with regard to May 4. Again, historically, we each provide $20 to the staff for them to
Yeah.
take care of lunches and dinner and so forth. So before we leave, make sure you give Mandy or Karen that $20 if you have it. If not, somebody will loan it to you. And Charlie hasn't
You can
come
bring it
on,
later,
so
I guess.
Yeah,
Charlie.
we'll have to give Charlie's 20. We never use state or government funds for meals and so forth. The board members individually give money out of their their own wallet for that. The Secretary of State's conference, this is in person or?
It will be in person at the Hyatt Regency in Columbus.
Yes,
So for 2 days.
I will
I
go
will
ahead.
be, I'll be in Delaware, so
That's what I wondered.
Oh, you're
I
going?
couldn't remember exactly when you went.
I won't be able to attend.
So we don't know about Charlie.
I'll find out from Charlie,
Yeah, we can
but,
check with him before it.
Glenn, will you be going, attending?
Well, I usually that takes all my required hours
Yeah,
to do that. It's part, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it
I just
might
wanna
be
go
in
ahead
their
and
hours.
reserve our
Yeah.
rooms.
I'm available.
Okay, alrighty. I'll reserve the rooms.
I expect to be there.
Okay,
Do we go up on the 8th or the?
Usually we go up the night before on the 7th.
yeah. Now, I may be up there because they usually have classes for new election officials. So I may be up there all day Monday.
Unless they have that school, don't they?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
she's talking about, it's REO.
Yeah.
The National
Yeah.
School Program.
So I may already be up there, but I'll go ahead and reserve the rooms today. And Charlie's listening to us.
Oh, is he?
Yes, he just texted me. He said he'll stop by Friday to give us the $20. Hi, Charlie.
He's listening.
But we can't see him.
Yeah.
We must
He
turn
must
his
have to go
camera
to
off.
video, yeah.
Oh, well, if you're listening, turn your camera on.
He's kind of like, oh my God, I want to turn my camera on.
Of course, maybe you still.
Well, you have to have our Zoom
show.
link. We sent him the Zoom link. We didn't give you permission for that.
The next item is our, I guess, obviously our review of extra hours under the complex time. Hopefully, again, this summer, we'll work our way through some of those.
So, yeah, and they have been, what's in black was what we had at the last meeting, and then what's in red, is current,
Current,
yeah,
yeah,
So
so we
they
are
have moved
making
on some.
headway,
yeah.
which is good.
Yeah, and then, over the summer, we will have more opportunity to take
Right.
it on.
I guess we have future discussions, again, just a memorandum of understanding, waiting on the prosecutor to put that together. I spoke with her probably a meeting or two ago
Okay,
and just mentioned that there were a couple of items we saw, just cleanup items to make sure we were described, as conducting elections and not, providing family reunification service or something.
the only other thing I have, we have an intern, he wasn't able to join us today, but he's here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Brad Thomas is interning in our office. He's getting his master's, I believe, in public administration. So many of you might know his wife, Christy Thomas, who's very active in Main Street. Is it Married on Main Street? Okay, yeah. I couldn't remember which organization it was, but, so he's been very helpful. We're going to use him pretty much as one of the delivery guys too. We found a replacement for Jeff. Jeff Ingram has retired. So we've asked David White to be the Republican delivery driver, and he's accepted that.
Oh, good.
So, and I just checked with Charlie, he asked, Charlie needs the date for the conference. He just asked about if we had found a replacement, and I think, I thought somebody asked David, anyways, he's willing to do that. So, when, in November, we're gonna need somebody for the east side because Jed is actually on the ballot. So he won't be able to, as he's running for trustee, so he can still work.
David and I just swapped.
Yeah, that's what we're
So
gonna
you can
do, is
I can
just,
run the.
Yeah.
I know
he'll run the
west
west
side.
side and
Right.
David and Brad, I'm having Brad kind of go along with him. we'll do the east side, so we'll cover that. Of course, he can work this time because he's
Yeah,
not on
this
the ballot.
time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it won't matter.
But I think that's good, because it's good to, I would say flipping is good,
Yeah.
because again, you
David
never
wanted
know
the
if
location, so.
an ailment comes up and someone couldn't work and you could shift.
Yeah, we'll
Well,
have
and that's
to.
why I
Someone will
really
have to
got
go
Brad,
get
he
it.
did a lot, he helped us tremendously with our LNA testing.
So,
And I wanted him to really get to know these machines because I'm gonna use him kind of as a floater. Because David is actually working as a poll worker, but, I wanted Brad to really get a good, grip on how those machines work. So he's gonna be a floater, so if there are problems within the city, then Brad can go around.
Good.
Yeah.
Howard, I noticed that the clerks have been working
Yeah, I
on
think he'll be good.
those cards, for lack of a better descriptive
Yes.
word, that are in
Oh, yeah, yeah, they're
the
both-
portion that
that's
is
what
double
we're-
locked. There are those file cabinets that have room for cards, that have voter information, et cetera, but are not required to be under double lock. Just during the moving process, et cetera, and whatnot, they're back there. So there were a number of tubs on top, and so they're putting them all together and sorting that all out and getting it entered into computers or whatever we needed to do.
Yeah, they're just checking it, on the
Yeah.
computer to make sure where they
They're good to
put them in
go.
the right place.
Yeah. And hopefully, we're really close now to parting with those voting booths. Really close.
Yeah,
I have sent an email to Alex, our liaison from the Secretary of State's office, asking him to reach out to his counterparts in the other regions to see if anyone is interested. When Mandy originally put out a feeder email in January,
it was sometime last year.
we had some counties that were interested. Morgan actually came down and took like 10 of them.
So we did have at least somebody come in.
Wow.
But at Portage, I think somebody, but I was like, well, you tell them they've got to come to us, because I'm not using our dollars to take them up to them.
Yeah,
So I've emailed Alex, I haven't heard back from them, but we are hoping, once Alex gets that, we're giving them 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, we're going to start loading them into the dumpster.
Amen.
Excellent.
we're gonna do it like a few at a time,
Well,
You know,
that's
the
fine.
schools did not show any interest.
That,
and it's
that
just taking up
room will
space.
be, again, if we can, as I think I was back pointing out I think it was it was back with
Yeah.
Mandy. We were looking at some stuff about if we could get rid of that really generates some wall space that would be handy so that we have more walking aisle space for
Yeah.
the conducting of testing and whatnot, and getting them organized, ready for, putting them on a truck at election time.
Yeah.
So it'll be good, and then I think you had mentioned that your plans are also to get through the wooded, double layered
yeah, we'd like to get new metal.
metal ones.
Yeah.
And again, I think having them on wheels is not a bad idea,
Mhm.
quite frankly, just makes them mobile if you need to.
So, because those wooden carts, or the wooden shelving, the way they are, they're not really lined up properly.
Right.
So you can't maximize your
There's
storage
space,
space.
size
Yeah.
fit,
Yeah,
Yeah. proper.
there's a real limit, so it would be good to do that. And again, we've acquired so many of these rolling carts that
Right.
And
potentially.
I asked Jen,
have a
when,
spot.
after this meeting, we're gonna go back and count how many of those bigger wheels we need to get, and I'll go ahead and get them ordered. And
Yeah.
that's gonna be close to probably $400.
Well,
Probably,
again,
yeah.
in part, it makes them usable, because when they came with those smaller wheels, I don't know
Yeah.
how they
they're not
ever
really-
thought that was going to, absorb the weight
Yeah.
that those things actually can take. I was fascinated.
Where did they get those carts? Where'd Peggy get those?
She ordered them from, it was it started with a Z. I can't think now.
Because I knew she had talked about
It
Sam's
wasn't
Club,
Zazzle.
and
I don't
Sam's
think it
has
was-
them over there, but
Amazon got them.
Yeah, I can't remember and I know it started with a Z, I'd have to look back through the records to figure out.
Well, as long as we're getting the more industrial weight.
Yeah, once we get the wheels, I think they'll be
Yeah,
fine.
then they're gonna be mobile,
Yeah.
et cetera, so that'll be good, okay. So is there any other old business that anyone wanted to bring up or question?
We'll get the delivery truck Monday.
Yeah, it's already, we already put in for it, it'll be I think we'll actually get it I told them at least the Friday before the election,
Okay.
so the 30th.
So
we'll at
do
least
we
be
need
able
to
to
let
pick
the
it up that
delivery
day.
drivers come in on Friday then?
Yeah, cause they'll need to load the truck.
Okay.
On Friday.
Yep.
Do we
And then take it
need
out
to pick them
the
up on
3rd.
Thursday?
They might be ready then, I need to double check with them for what day they'll be.
Okay.
Sometimes they've gave it to us from Wednesday to Wednesday, since
Yeah.
we take it back on Wednesday, but.
So I need to let the voting location managers and the voting locations know they'll be there Monday.
Yeah, that's what we'll need to go over a schedule
Yeah.
too of what
Okay,
times.
we can
If
talk.
I got their numbers, I can always call them.
Yeah. And then I gave everybody a copy of just our current budget.
Will we be transporting the shields that we have?
Sneeze guards, yeah.
Yeah, those will be.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the
Are we-
van for that.
We're gonna get the van from out of the.
Yeah, county home.
Yeah, the same one.
Yeah, I heard from all three commissioners on that, so they all agreed with it, so we're good for that.
Good. Anything else that we need?
Sheila Lovett did start, last week when we started early voting. We're not using her every single day, to be honest, because this primary is a lot different than the last primary, so.
For the last two elections.
Yeah, we've had, 40 in-person voters?
I
Is that
think,
what the
yeah, and
machine
then
said
maybe
today?
around 100 some
Yeah.
mail outs.
Mail out, so, obviously not near as busy as we were this time last year, but,
We were hoping when the newspaper and WTAP came, maybe that'd get some interest.
yeah, it was on TAP last night, so hopefully we'll get
So
more
we'll see.
people. But, and the postcards went out this week to the voters in Decatur and, Newport and Lawrence. There was, how many in about?
There was, I think 81 in Newport and like 16 that were Lawrence, so. all
Because
the
those
rest of
voters are
them
gonna be
came.
coming to Reno, and the Decatur voters, I need to put, maybe when the delivery guys go out, we need to put signs up on their normal voting locations saying, for this primary, you are voting, and put the place on there.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you're gonna have voters that'll go to their own primary, or voting
Yeah,
locations.
their own location.
Yeah, well, yeah,
But it is bright pink, the postcard, I mean, if they miss it,
Yeah.
because it is
bright.
pretty bright.
Yeah. And it says on there, very, or like in bold, kind of that it's temporary change. For the next election, your polling place will change back to normal.
Now, I know in our last meeting, when I was doing the minutes, we talked about possibly having you guys visit the schools this summer.
Yeah.
So, I thought maybe in June or early July. Early July is kind of crazy with the 4th, but I'll be in touch with the superintendents and maybe we can find a day where the 6 of us can go out and.
well, again, I thought it was important to do it when we don't have a lot of students,
Yeah,
so there's a minimal disruption. We get a chance to walk through and ask questions. And we may well want to take a couple of our setup people,
yeah,
Yeah, that might be good.
because they're very, very helpful in pointing out, well, don't do that because of this, just their experience. So we'll want to keep that in mind. Anything else? If not, we need a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Fastest
All
meeting
in
I can
favor?
remember for a long time, I'm gonna tell you.
Alrighty.
Sometimes we're here.
Thank